Bev Alderson from our Devon Association. Bev.
Hello, my name is Bev Alderson from the Devon Association, and I'm a primary deputy head teacher. My question is, given the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the lives of children and young people, how do you believe the government should be supporting teachers and schools to ensure a sustainable and effective programme for education recovery?
Yes, really important question, Bev. And obviously there isn't a quick fix to this. It's going to take time to make good the lost learning and the impact on children's social and emotional well-being. It's going to take time and it's going to take resources. So schools will need the funding support to do that. And it's going to take the expertise and talent of highly skilled professional teachers. And so it's vital that we halt this flight that we've seen from the profession. I'm very concerned that after the pandemic and the pressures that teachers and school leaders have faced, we are going to see experienced teachers and leaders leaving teaching at a time when we most need their expertise to help support children's recovery. And so remuneration of teachers, investing in teachers' professional development and progression, and ensuring that we retain skilled professionals in our education system, I think is absolutely key to children's educational recovery. I also think that we have to be really clear about trusting and valuing our education professionals. And it's deeply regrettable that the government is both failing to meet its promise on the starting salary for teachers, the £30,000 a year it said it would introduce, and freezing the pay this year of existing teachers. We're going to change the life chances of this generation of children without the teachers in the classroom. And so I think it's absolutely crucial that you are at the heart of the plans for an education recovery, and that should be the government's priority.
Thanks very much, Bev, for the question, and thanks very much, Kate, for that answer. The next question, I'd like to invite Deborah Eccleston from the Durham Association.
Hi there, my name's Deborah Eggleston from County Durham Association. My question is, what lessons should be learned from last year, and how will you work to ensure with the post-pandemic our education system isn't subjected to the same mistakes as in the past?
Well, thanks for the question, Deborah. And we've learned a lot, I think, about the shaky foundations on which our education system has been resting. And when the pandemic hit, of course, that put immense pressure on professionals in the system, including, of course, because of the pressures of funding, lack of access that children had, for example, to digital resources for remote learning. And I think it's very clear in education, as indeed in our economy and society more broadly, that a decade of austerity left our education system in a fragile system to cope when the pandemic hit. And it's thanks to the incredible efforts of professionals in the system that children have been kept safe and learning during the pandemic. What have I learned? I think I've learned, first of all, and I wish the government would learn this, listen to the professionals, work with you. You can say very clearly, you can tell us what is happening at the front line, and you have the recommendations, ideas and suggestions about what needs to be done to give our children and young people the best opportunity for their learning. I think we've learned that our accountability regime is not fit for purpose. It's measuring some of the things, and of course it has incentivized competition between schools, when what we've seen very impressively during the pandemic is how much better things can be when schools work cooperatively. And I think one of the other things that is an opportunity perhaps that we've learned from this pandemic is the way in which parents have both come to value teachers' expertise. I'm constantly meeting parents who have now understood after homeschooling just how very difficult it is to be a teacher. But I think parents have a new appetite to be partners in their children's education with their children's teachers and the schools. And I think that's a real opportunity that I'm sure the profession won't miss that. And I think the government needs to be thinking very smartly, as do we in Labour, about how we really facilitate that role for parents in being your partners in children's education.
Thanks very much, Deborah, for that question. And again, thank you very much, Kate, for your response to it. The final question is from Sabia Mahmood of the North East Derbyshire Association.
Sabia Mahmood, North East Derbyshire. As we move out of the pandemic, the underlying recruitment and retention crisis within the teaching profession is likely to be re-exposed. What steps would you take to raise the status of the teaching profession, including through a fair pay settlement for all teachers, including supply teachers?
Thank you, Sabia. It's not rocket science, this, is it? If you want to attract and retain the skilled and talented teachers that we need to support our children's learning, we need to make sure that teachers are fairly remunerated for your work and your professional expertise. And that is why Labour will stand with you in challenging this mean-spirited and unfair pay freeze that you face this year. It's about investing in continuing professional development so that teachers have the opportunity to expand their skills and progress. It's also, of course, about rewarding skilled teachers who want to stay working in the classroom, particularly in schools with more challenged intakes. We want to support teachers to progress to be school leaders if that's their career choice, but also for those teachers who love being in the classroom and such a difference in the classroom to children's life chances, to make sure that we recognise and also properly reward those teachers. You're absolutely right to raise the issue of supply teachers, something that I know NASU UWT has been very concerned about. And of course, during the pandemic, here's another thing that we've learned. The value of supply staff, and yet we've seen many of the agencies that place supply teachers into schools have refused to furlough them during the pandemic, and many now facing redundancy. We've got to value the resource, the capacity, the flexibility and the skills that supply teachers bring to our education system. And many of you will know that without the ability to rely on good quality supply teachers, with whom many schools, of course, build a long-term relationship, our education system would be under even more pressure. So I think it's absolutely crucial that supply staff are valued as an integral part of the profession and not some kind of afterthought that agencies are treating as, units of production, rather than skilled professionals who need to have the recognition and remuneration to which they're entitled.
Thank you very much, Sabia, for that question. And again, Kate, for your response to it.